they can. And then people are like, I don't know if they know we could hear them, but we can still hear them right now. I know last time we were talking about some weird stuff, and I just go like, I hope they can't hear us. Ed's all, no, they can't hear you. I was like, are you sure? Like, I'm pretty sure they can hear us. Yeah, they can hear us right now. Hey, we are live with Ministry Matters. That's it. We're on. We are on. I've got Chris in the studio today. And there are so many parts of your life where when you look from a distance, there's no clear dividers. And it's kind of like the American flag. From a distance, as it's flapping, you know there are multiple colors in that flag, but until you get real close to it, you see the dividing colors of red, white, and blue. And you know there's stars on it. You know there's how many stars are on the flag. 20, right? No. I'm just messing with you, Chris. I know you know. But there's so much that when you get close to it can be blurry, but at some point you make this defining move in your life and things get clear. So let's start with this, Chris. How did you end up in Bakersfield?
Well, I was born in Bakersfield. I grew up in Delano until 1992. Just due to the school system, my parents wanted to get us kids into Bakersfield, into a little better school system than we had there in Delano. 1992 started 6th grade in Bakersfield, and it was so close to the original home being Delano, 30 minutes away, and the family was ag based, so we knew a lot of people in town, of course, and
Okay.
there were quite a few people also moving to Bakersfield from Delano about that same time.
All right. So ag family from Delano.
Yeah.
And then you guys came to Bakersfield. What kept you in Bakersfield instead of living in Delano?
As I say, I was so young when we came. I look back on it now. I was 12 years old when we came into Bakersfield. At the point, what drove my parents here was, as I said, the school systems, the available school systems.
Okay.
We were in a private school, St. Mary's School in Delano, and that school, unfortunately, about that same time was closing its doors.
Oh.
Yeah, so my parents kind of looked forward, and their plan was to get us into Bakersfield and give us
All
a little
right.
more.
So you grew up in Bakersfield. What do you do now as an adult in Bakersfield?
Well, today I have the opportunity of owning Circle M Truck Repair and Circle M Tire and Automotive. We fix commercial trucks all the way down into passenger vehicles. So 2 different entities, but really, as far as the bones they're the same. It's the same type of function, if you would.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Erin said that you're her boss. So if you guys remember, we had a lady on here named Erin. That is his wife. And they work together. I mean, how is that dynamic working with Erin? Like, because sometimes I like me and my wife, we can work together for like 2 months.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's new for me. Although growing up in a family business, my dad, his family and him were always together in business. So I grew up in a family business, but it did not evolve into my house, into my home. So my mom
Okay.
had her own job. Now here we are, the next generation, and my wife and I, Erin, we are working together. You asked me the question, how is it working with your wife? And I think I need to ask myself the question, how is it working with Chris?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, listen, me and my wife, she's not the problem. I am. You're spot on. I am the problem. I am the wild card in the situation. Yeah. Well, that's good. That is good. So in this journey, so you have this business, you do awesome things for the community. I know I seen on Bakersfield Tough, they did an article about some free tune-ups or something like that, some service you guys provided. Is that on Veterans Day or Memorial Day? Which day is that?
That particular promotion is our Veterans Day promotion, I believe, that you're referring to. And what we do for the vets is we have the vets come through. We I hate to even say the word we give. They've earned an oil change on Circle M. We also
That's
provide
awesome.
a warm breakfast and send them home with some cup, their cheesecake, little singles, and so send them home with a few cheesecake bites.
Okay.
Yeah, man, it's just a great day. We get to sit around with them. We get to break bread. We get to share conversations, and even sometimes we get to see their grandkids. They come along with them, so it's really neat.
That's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a unique situation.
Yeah.
All right. So you do that, but there was this thing I remember we went on a bike ride together, and I remember looking at you going like, man, this guy, he's really pushing himself today. And I see like after a couple of weeks, you had pushed yourself in other places too. Like the depth of your relationship with God was changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what really like helped you get to that point to where your relationship with God started to change? Because I seen it from a distance. I seen the changes happening. Like something's going on with him. I don't know what, but something is happening.
Yeah, it's absolutely. We can use so many different descriptive words for this, but it's magical, it's radical, what have you. God started moving in my life early. I fully believe that, and I don't believe any of us are fully surrendered 100%. However, I made some changes in my life, as you say, and I looked in the mirror, and I just had to remind myself of a few things that I learned in school in Delano as a kid, and that is God is here always. God understands my next
Wow.
move. God knows He's already got the plan that is set out for me, and all I'm doing is I'm just running from this plan. And God would put these obstacles and question marks in my life, and He knew the answer to them. He just needed me to maybe give Him the answer, or maybe admit, or
Yeah.
or just get down for Him. But I just really started devoting my everyday thoughts and trying to turn those thoughts into everyday actions, and then even display that in another outwardly form. And then so after those bike rides, I just man, it was really, to be quite frank, uh, my journey group is a powerful group of excellent men,
Yeah, they
and
are.
those men gave me the opportunity. Really, God gave them. God put this all together to where I trusted these men that were around me before I truly trusted myself, and He allowed me to create transparency about myself in front of them. And
Wow.
once I was able to do that, and they weren't striking down on me, they were accepting me. We were all flesh in that room. And so today it's just, man, that those relationships have just magnified so much. It's just amazing.
I like what you said about how God puts the question. He knows the answer, but He just wants you to give Him the answer. Because I think that is really, there's this story in the Bible where Adam and Eve, right, in the beginning in the garden, and it's like this horrible mistake that happens. And in that story, the first thing God does is He comes down because Adam is hiding. And He says to Adam, hey, Adam, where are you? Like, and everybody goes like, if God is so wise and all knowing, why did God ask that question? And I think it was for Adam, because I think Adam was scrambling. He was like panicking, trying to come up with a solution. And he didn't realize he was hiding.
Yes.
He didn't realize that everything that he was doing was creating a division between him and God.
Yes.
And you're right. I think you're right. God puts those questions when He wants to do something big in your life.
Yeah.
And hopefully you don't get frustrated with God asking you hard questions, because He knows you know the answer.
It's amazing. I've obviously thought about this moment with you, and really I've I'd have reflecting on these last few months of my life. It has been great, but to be real about what's going on is really more important.
Yeah.
There are a lot of great things going on, and so, but really there are a lot of fights too that are taking place, and you know when you surrender, if you would, it's to a degree. I always like to be honest with myself. It's to a degree, and and every degree it reveals more. He reveals more,
Yeah.
and so that's where I am today. Is, man, just trying to have the nerve.
Yeah.
It's tough sometimes.
Yeah, I think that is real, because it is degree. Like, sanctification is the process, right, that we go through as Christians. And my friend Anthony Martin said it is a long walk to the end of where you get crucified. He's all, and you got to carry that cross the whole way. And I was like, you're right, man. It's such a process, and by the time you get there, you're 100% different. You are. But in that too, so I like that you said that, because this morning I looked up this verse, and I had sent this to one of my buddies too on Sunday, because he asked me, like, what's a verse I should look at before I go to church? And I go, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and against the powers and against the world forces of this darkness and against spiritual forces of wickedness in heavenly places. And you are 100% right when you say that you made a decision to go closer to God and opposition rose up. And I remember you telling me, like, because I've had 20 years sober, and I was telling somebody, like, the hardest year was like the first year and after that. And I remember you going, no. And I was like, I remember that conversation go, like, he is actually right, because yes, I mean, it could be tomorrow that I have the hardest day with that battle, because my enemy is not flesh and blood. Tomorrow could be that hardest day. I hope I don't fail, God, because that would be horrible to go 20 years and then have to start again.
Absolutely. Well, for me, as I sit here and I think about this, it's simply verbalizing that, I've got 20 years. It's simply allowing the devil to see that you're sitting on your heels.
Yeah.
That's you telling yourself, I'm good.
Yeah. I got this.
I got this. And it's just
That's so good.
And it's those simple little moments like that we have to, of course, and of course, well, I kind of checked myself. Well, yeah, and that's what it takes, and that's that connection that you have, and all of us see, of course.
So what motivated you to get baptized? Because we had kind of a special baptism in the coldest water I have ever baptized anybody. Listen, when I got out of the water, my legs were purple. I'm brown. But what really helped you feel like that was part of your process now? What motivated that?
The motivation, as I started this journey and kept digging deeper and trying to get closer, trying to engage more into this journey and to lean into God more, lean on God. There was an understanding that I had. We can have questions about life. We can have questions, biblical questions about stories. Of course, we're human. But I have questions for myself. And those questions are based off of a belief.
Yeah.
And that belief was, the reason I've started this journey is because I couldn't do it myself. And I had so many barnacles stuck to my body, and it was so uncomfortable. And I personally, and I don't think any other flesh was and is able to scrub those barnacles off my body, right? So it would almost be like as if I don't have hands to remove a barnacle, right? I don't have that power. Those barnacles were in such places that I couldn't reach, in other words.
Yeah.
And And so anyways, man, I just got caught up in that whole concept. But um, man, I lost my train of thought. Believe it or not, I really am passionate.
Well,
about
I can
that.
tell you, like the barnacle thing and not being able to get him off, that definitely is like a motivating line, because when you realize you can't do it on your own, you definitely need something bigger than you.
That
right?
was it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. And that was it. Of course, the cleansing and of all these of every all my past, let's just sum it up. And to me, that was a symbol, of expressing a portion of my commitment to the Lord. And
That's awesome.
yeah, and that, it wasn't just a thought anymore. It was a thought. And then it was a conversation with Adrian. And of course, Adrian, how cool was that conversation, right? You guys really, I just have to really quick. I don't even know how much time we have.
You got time. You got time.
I'm just
Go
going to jump
ahead.
through this. So you remember we get out of the 9 o'clock, and for some reason I'm kind of straight off.
Always. He always goes like that. So whenever God says, "Hey, go talk to Chris," I have to go find him.
Oh, and I believe we had the Lions Den, the first one at Northwest the Friday before, believe it or not, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, like night or at any rate. So I was just kind of looking over there at the hay bales, kind of just thinking about my past with my father and buying and selling hay. And so anyways, you guys, here comes Adrian out of the blue, of course. And he says, "Hey," "something's on my heart." And I just kind of shake. I just said, "Okay." And I'm trying to think, what's he going to come up with? And believe it or not, you guys, I've been thinking about getting baptized. I didn't know how I wanted to do this. I was being a little more introverted, I believe, and let's call it selfish. I wanted this just to be Adrian and myself and my family. I was really being, in my mind, I was being selfish. Well, so Adrian, he says, "Okay." He says, "What do you see in your baptism? What does this look like to you? And when?" And I start with the win, and I start projecting out. Well, my daughter's got volleyball, and I've got this, and I've got that. He says, "Chris," he says, "I'd like you just to pray on that." He says, I feel something different, but what does it look like? And I said, "Man, it looks like the sun shining through the trees, stairway to heaven." And I said, obviously the sun, falling in the horizon. I said, and in the water. And so anyways, 2 weeks go by. I'm not great at telling stories. A couple of weeks go by, and he talks. Awesome. He says, "What do you think?" I said, "You know what, Adrian?" I said, it's every day, 7 days. It's been on my heart. I've been thinking about this. I said, "We must go this next Sunday. We're just going to plan this." And of course, you guys, I was keeping in mind selfishly how cold the water was. I thought maybe if I waited another week, I could help myself a little bit. I doubt that at any rate. And so, here we are today. And,
Awesome.
My baptism, I was an infant.
Yeah.
And years and years and years and years ago. And so, this meant so much more to me in such a conscious state of mind, in a present state of mind. And
your dad was there, right?
My dad and my mom, absolutely.
Yeah, because I remember your dad looking at me like, "What are you guys doing?" Especially when we started hiking the trail. I could see his concerned face, and I was like, "Don't worry, this will be good."
Yeah.
But you going and getting baptized too, I think it builds something, because sometimes we think the action we're taking with God is just for us, right? And God. But man, and then another person got messaged that we were going to baptize, and they said, "Hey, can I get baptized?" And I was like, "Absolutely."
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's go do it. So by you doing that, you made room for this other person, Jack Garcia, to get baptized, man. And I think as you're getting closer in this process with God, like, keep that in mind too, that you're making room for these other people too. You're definitely making, like, even being on the podcast, I was going to pull you first, and then God said, "No, I want you to bring Erin on the show." And it was I was like, "All right, God, she has a story?" And God's like, "Yeah, she has a story." And she's like, "I don't have a story." And I go, "Okay, well, God said you had a story, so here's the mic, let's go. And she told this awesome story of losing her child and, God restoring her heart, healing her to the place where she can get married again. And because you guys just got married, right?
December 15th, 24.
Wow. Pastor James Ranger did it, right?
Pastor James, yes.
That's
sir.
so cool. That is
Yes.
so cool.
Yeah.
And I've only known you, I think, for a couple months, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. It middle of October. We met.
Yeah. What
Middle
a
of
huge
October.
change, man.
Yeah.
God is good. So check this out. So now you're at this part. What do you see God doing next in your heart, in your marriage? Because he's always doing something, right? Like, what do you think he's up to next? And then I'll tell you what I think he is.
Wow. What a concept, really, just to voice our own inner thoughts, and hopefully they're consistent with his plan. Really, it's one of those things that I do feel God has put me to. He's working through me right now. I can tell you guys all that right now. There's some radical stuff going on, and I would never say that it's just this jolly. I'm just blessed and blessed and blessed and blessed and blessed. I am. But you know what? God's put me out there in situations almost to talk to the unrepresentable, almost to talk to the people that he in his own experience in life may not have the nerve and courage to go talk to this said person.
Wow.
And
that's cool.
And I just, I've always been that way ever since I was a little kid. I would say, Mom, Dad, my mom would say, stop staring, Christopher. And as we got older, we learned that Christopher was just curious.
Yeah.
And so, today I'm still just as curious and I care with that curiosity. And so, I really feel like he's got me working with a youth, with the, post high school, even high school kids. We're doing a little, with the Kern High School District and the CTEC program, career trades.
Awesome.
So we're doing a lot of great stuff with that. And, to me, it's what is he doing? He's given me the courage, really, Adrian. He's given me the courage to not. I was so afraid to even talk about God in public. And I'm just being honest because he knows I would be lying so quickly. Because this was one of these things in February. I decided that I'm going to courageously challenge myself to have one conversation per day with somebody, whether I know them or not.
Wow. And
I'm going to gently introduce it, because I always used to think to myself, why are they preaching to me? I'm and that's
for the record. I did not preach to him. I was not the one.
And so, I never want that. You always judge a book by its cover, of course, but you know what? If you boldly go out there, you really don't have any reservation or fears. You just go out there and know, however it's on your heart. If you feel like you need to introduce it gently, then you introduce it gently. And that's what I tried to do through February. So I found success in that, man. I'm telling you. It was
That's
cool.
Good. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I could see there's this new reach that's coming for you. Like, I noticed that what God is building around you is making room for that too. And I think it has everything to do with your opposition, because in your life, the opposition also affirms what you're supposed to be doing. Like, if you have no opposition, then you're probably not supposed to be doing that. But if you have opposition, then it's like a confirmation. Like, I know, because of those feelings I get about alcohol, 100% I'm not supposed to drink it. Like, I know it. Like, it's in me. I know, I remember, and I know that I can't do that. And the opposition confirms that, yeah, I can't be doing that. I definitely can't. Plus, nobody would like me if I did anyway. I wasn't a very happy drunk. I was not a good man back then. I was not. But you know, Jeremiah 29:11 says something like, "You don't know the plans I have for you, that they are for good, to prosper you." And I also think God's going to prosper you and bless you for your commitment to follow Him and not be afraid to go on Adrian's podcast that he just asked you to show up and jump on, man. All right. So, on this part, how do you think it has affected your business? So, you're getting closer to God, you're getting married, going, diving deeper in your fellowship in the journey group. How is it how is it, maybe it hasn't affected, has it changed anything in your business?
Man, what a question. Because I think God started in my business. God started, I can't even say started.
He did something. Tell us what he did in your business. Tell us that.
Yeah, so I guess it was just when I was starting to wake up and accept and accept these blessings that he was giving me, right? So at any rate, things were changing in the business, and I believe God was moving really hard in my business by making moves, just like it was a chessboard. There were so many players on this board that I had out there, and there were some, moving around. There were some going. There were some coming. But he is today challenging me in business. I want you to know that I am having to wrestle, and that's just being honest. And I could run. I know how to run, but I'm not. And I'm willing to. And we're wrestling right now. It's not the easiest of times. It's very tough. The people I work with are great people. My business is an excellent business. However, again, when you really change your life in all aspects, there's so much more out of life that you never really focused on, you never paid attention to. So these little details that we start focusing on in our business at times can bring challenges to us. And again, those are the challenges, those are the day-to-day challenges that I'm talking about when I talk about that fight. Yeah. And these are day-to-day challenges, Adrian. And I mean, every single day it's late, and the one thing I can do today is lean on prayer. And it's amazing how quickly, and I could smile. I asked myself today, Chris, how do you just keep doing this? How do you just keep going and have the passion to bring on more into your life, whether it be another business or whether it be more time for another small group, or maybe just myself and one of my friends that's journeying with me. Adrian, the only thing that keeps me going today, and he knows it, God knows it, he is right there with me. And so that's when awesome. I interpret business is great. But when I sit here and have a conversation with you and everybody out there watching, listen, I want you to know that this, for me, this journey is not to be, I don't want anybody to portray this as an easy journey. This is very tough to walk with the Lord as I want to walk with the Lord. And I know that, and I'm willing to wrestle awesome. With him, man. I'm telling you.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. If it was easy, I don't think I'd be a Christian. Yeah. Because I'd be like, there's no way that requires faith. And when you're walking with God, it requires faith. It requires endurance. It requires, so much more than a passive life where you're just going through the motions, not really making decisions. Because God does call, like that day. He said, I want you to make a decision about getting baptized. The day he said, I want you to make a decision about getting married. That is how God works. He doesn't just let you go through the motions over and over and over again. He wants you to make a choice. And I love your description. I even kind of titled today's show on that, because when I sat with Aaron, we were standing, and I said, what do you think is the change that you have made? And you said, I drew a line in the sand, and now without a doubt, I know what side I'm on, and the enemy knows what side I'm on. And I love that, man, because so many times Christians or people of faith are just in and out. They're like halfway on the line, or they say there's no line there. But listen, if you want to really follow God, you got to do what he did. You got to draw a line and say, my enemy stands on this side. I'm choosing to be on God's side and watch the world around me be radically transformed by God's love through my hands. And I love that, man. I love that. I love your willingness to do that, because most people are not willing to draw that line.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So tell them again, what's your business? Because
We've got Circle M Tire and Automotive. That's on Rosedale Highway, you guys. It's right across the street from Los Hermanos is the easiest way to explain it.
Awesome.
And we've also got Circle M Truck Repair. Circle M Truck Repair is a commercial fleet management company. So we work on the big rigs, repair the big rigs, take care of scheduled maintenance, etc. And
awesome.
Yeah, so.
Well, cool. Awesome. Thank you for being on the show, Chris. We've got, I want to thank 511 Media, Mike Harvey, and our producer, David, back there, because everything worked awesomely today. So, and thank you guys for watching. We'll have this up on YouTube soon. So we will talk to you soon. See you next week. And thanks for watching.